and your toe side 180 is good, so you know how to do these two tricks already. We're just gonna put them together. Some people honestly can't even do a toe side 3, but they can do a 5. And the reason is, when you land a 5, it's just like a toe side wake to wake 180. It's almost easier than a toe side just straight air, because you can land leaning against the rope. So what I want you to do is think about that toe side 3 approach, where you're gonna come in just nice and easy on your toe side edge, keeping the handle down at that front hip. Real important, as you go through the top of the wake, keep that pull coming from your back arm, okay? So that as you go to the top of the wake, if you start to open up your body too soon, that pull's not going through your back arm any longer, and the pop's not gonna go through the board. So keep that pull coming from that back arm all the way to the top of the wake. Once you get into the air, the first few times, what you can do is you can think about actually squaring up to the boat just for a second. That's gonna make sure that you get a good axis, okay? So keep the board going on its edge all the way through the top of the wake, and then squaring up to the boat. That's two things you can do to make sure that you don't start spinning this thing off axis. So as you get to the top, you're gonna square up to the boat for just a second. You're almost gonna feel like your shoulders are square. And that's at that point where you can pull with two hands pretty aggressively towards your back hip. So as you square up, pull with two hands towards your back hip, look aggressively over your shoulder. The reason I say look aggressively, that's where your extra spin is gonna come from, is looking over quickly over that front shoulder is gonna cause you to spin around, okay? So what you can also do to finish that last 180 is think about closing the gap between the handle and your back hip. So as you're looking aggressively, you get that the handle back in your front hand, think about taking your back hip and closing the gap up against your front hip. Remember that you don't wanna point the board necessarily at the boat, but remember you wanna point it in the direction that you're going, just like a toe side 180.